completing the square. Starting just with the x squared plus 2x minus 5. If we were to use and you can do this again with me or on a separate sheet of paper, write some notes on there, all right, but mark this up. This is set equal to 0. We're trying to find a solution. This is not factorable. And so the problem is the negative 5. There is nothing that factors from negative 5 that gives me a positive 2. Okay? So when we complete the square, the first thing we want to make sure of is that this a value is a 1. If it's not, we divide every term by that coefficient. In this case, it is. Okay? That's what I'm saying. Step 1, make square term have a coefficient of 1. That's what I wrote in the middle as your first step. Okay? So once we know that this is a 1, we take this a problem and move it to the other side. And what we're left with is this. So what we're trying to do is make this left side a perfect square. And this is just a process that we do. And the more you do this, the easier the process will be. Okay? The first step that we do is we take this value and we multiply it by a half. This is just what we do. So you're just going to have to memorize this process. We get 1. At this point, I want you to put a little cloud around that value because we're going to want to locate that later on. We take this 1 and we square it and we get 1 again in this case. At this point, we know that when we have an equation, what we add to one side, we then add to the other side, right? So that our equation stays balanced. It will change the way it looks, but ultimately it is still the same equation. Agreed? So I'm going to add this value here on the left side and to keep it balanced on the right side. What we've done is created a perfect square. This is a perfect square. What does it factor to? X squared factors to x and x. The 1 factors to 1 and 1. And this value was attained right here. That's where you're always going to go look. Okay, what does it equal on the right side? Well, it equals 6. And how do we rewrite this left side? Quantity squared, right? Now, 2 sections ago, we learned how to solve this, didn't we? What do? Square root both sides. X plus 1 is equal to, what do I get on the right side? Plus and minus square root of 6. Right? Because in an equation, when I take the square root, I get a positive and a negative. How do I finish solving this problem? X is equal to negative 1 plus and minus root 6. This becomes my final answer. There are no decimals. No decimals. No decimals under square roots. None. Nada. Not allowed. Got it? Okay. Okay. Is there a question? When you complete the square, this is the process you do every single time. Always multiply it by half. Always square it. Always add that value to both sides. Always rewrite the left side as a perfect square. Always take the square root and get a positive and negative. Always move the 1 value to the right side. Always. Elaine? Yes, it's making it a perfect square on the left. And that is just the appropriate way. Don't write it plus and minus root 6 minus 1. The root comes second. It's just kind of a standard way to write it. Sarah? I will tell you. I will say solve by completing the square. All right, let's try the right side problem. Okay? The only thing that makes this one different is what? All right. But before the fraction, what made this a problem? The coefficient, which is why we divide it all by 2. Because this coefficient has to be a 1. So we're left with x squared minus 3 halves x plus 2 equals 0. What's my next step? Add the, subtract the 2, right? Oh, this should have been a negative. I thought I changed this. If I didn't change it on your paper. Yeah, it should have been negative up here, and when I move it to the right, it becomes positive. I thought I corrected that. Okay, but this is the process. We take, what do we take and multiply by a half? The what? Never the variable. Not really 3 halves. It's negative 3 halves. Negative 3 halves times a half is negative what? And this is the one that gets the cloud, because this is the number that completes the square. What do I do with the negative 3/4? You square it and get 9 over 16th. What do I do with that value? Add it to both sides. X squared minus 3 halves x plus 9/16 equals 2 plus 9/16. We can do that on your calculator. But think. You know where to look to tell me what to put in this parentheses. Where do I look? The cloud. What value am I putting in here? Negative 3/4. That's why you cloud that value, so that you can easily figure out how to make that, how to factor that. And this is going to be 32 plus 9, which is 41/16. Sarah? Because we've created a perfect square. All right, so that's x minus 3/4 squared equals 41/16. Take the square root, right? X minus 3/4 equals plus and minus square root of 41 over square root of 16. Remember, square roots are not allowed in the denominator. So plus and minus square roots of 41 over, and x then is equal to positive 3/4 because I move it to the right, yes? Plus and minus square roots of 41/4. So don't let these fractions scare you because the cloud helps you. How are we doing? Do you see that it's a process? We're doing the same thing every time. Okay, let's look at the notes. Okay. What do I do here? Subtract the 9. I got a 36 on the right. Who cares? I still got to get rid of that 9 on the left. X squared plus 6x equals 27. I'm subtracting the 9 because the 9 on the left is a problem. What do I do now? And I get 3. And what do I do with the 3? Cloud that sucker. Okay, what do I do now? Square it and get 9. What do I do now? Add to both sides. And so what does this factor to? X plus 3, right? So that's x plus 3 quantity squared is equal to 36. Take the square root. We know what the square root of 36 is. What is it? Just 6? Plus and minus 6. So I've got 2 equations in this case, don't I? Don't I? I have that x plus 3 equals 6. What's my other equation? Yeah. Solving these gives me 3 as my solution and negative 9. Go through the process of solving. Questions? Are we okay? Okay, there's a lot of thinking going on here. Okay, look at the next one. What am I going to do first on this next one? Okay. So that leaves me with x squared minus 10x equals negative 24. Right? What do I do now? Good. And I put my little cloud around that dude. All right, Erica, what do I do next? I like it. Yep, 25. And then, what am I going to do? Quinn? Cameron? Quinn. Yes? X squared minus 10x plus 25 equals negative 24 plus 25. Show me your work. There is no skipping a step in this problem. Do not do the stuff in your head. I will not give you credit, and you will get to do it again. All right, what's this factor to? So it's x minus 5, quantity squared is equal to 1. What does x minus 5 equal? It would if it were negative. Take the square root. Yeah, just plus or minus 1. Again, I get two actual equations, don't I, that I can actually work? What's my first Casey going to be? X minus 5 equals what? Okay, and my next one, Casey, x minus 5 equals? So it gives me x is equal to 6 and x is equal to 4. These ones came out nicely. What does it mean if they come out nicely? What does that mean about the original trinomial? I could have factored it, exactly. Okay. So if they come out ugly, they're not factorable, exactly. The square roots, I can't create that. All right, what did this say? Because this is just a mess. Okay. So I'm saying find the value of c so that you have a perfect square trinomial. I'm just saying, what is this going to be? Well, you're just going to do 14 times a half. And then what do I do? Square it. So what is my c value going to be? Yeah. X squared plus 14x plus 49 is now a perfect square. That's all. That's all that asks. Yeah. What does c equal? 49. All right, you try this last one. Oh, did I give you this one already? Yeah, this is the, no, okay. No. All right, you try this one yourself. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.